Hello everybody, this is Dr. Ariella. Wanted to talk a little bit about, or give you kind of a preview, heads up, info, whatever, on this class, this topic, this concept called women's studies. So unfortunately, a lot of people, when you talk about women's studies or mention that word, think that women's studies is about male bashing. And there are reasons for that, cultural reasons for that. The women's studies movement, the women's movement or the feminist movement gave birth to use a phrase, women's studies, the study really of gender. It's called gender studies in some places. But the feminist movement, the women's movement, was very vocal. People in that movement were very vocal about asking critical thinking questions and posing questions to people in authority to have them look at things differently. So they were asking questions like, why is it that women are thought to be less capable than men? Why is it that women tend to earn less than men? Why is it that girls tend to do poorly in certain subjects? Why is it that the commonplace, common thing that people do when they get married is that women lose their last names? So the point is that people, especially women, started asking these kinds of questions. If you haven't read it yet, Betty Friedan's book, The Problem That Has No Name, was a major stepping stone or platform for women especially to really start asking these kinds of important questions. And so as people started asking these questions, some people started doing actual research, putting these questions in a research format and doing research studies on them, on these different kinds of questions, trying to find out why it is that girls' self-esteem or self-efficacy seem to plummet around certain time periods, things like that. So we've learned a lot in the last 50 plus years, and as a result, many colleges and universities across the United States and in some other countries have women's studies courses, women's studies majors and minors, and lots of research has been done on this topic. So it's due to the critical thinking on the part of many people that the women's studies field got started. And one of the reasons that this type of field is considered male bashing is because the media gave a lot of time to very angry, primarily women, who were not shy about making their views known. And it's pretty common for people who, especially women, who have their consciousness raised. That was a really popular concept and sort of activity in the 60s, consciousness raising. When they became aware of certain things, that's what it is, becoming aware that women tend to be relegated to certain jobs, less pay, etc., that their husbands or significant others tend to not hold them in the same esteem as other men, things like that. When people learn, women learn about these kinds of inequities, many became very angry. And it's a common phase in the sort of cycle of becoming more aware of one's position. Many oppressed people, Hawaiians, Native Americans, Japanese, etc., many oppressed people go through this stage as well. So when someone learns about how they're being oppressed, and that's how many people, many women especially, saw their situation as oppressive, they go through a stage of anger. And so anyway, the media gave these people, the bra burners, the loud ones, the shrill ones, the angry ones, a lot of media attention. And so there's a stereotype now about feminists, about women's studies, about people who fight for equal rights, things like that, that it's all about male bashing. And you know, it's pretty challenging when people learn something like the way that they're treated unequally, to not feel angry about it. So I think it's pretty common, but this is one of the reasons why there's this stereotype about women's studies. So this course, my presentation of it anyway, is not about male bashing. It's about looking at research. So Sapiro's book is pretty research based, and so we have a big advantage in reading her book because we get data, we get research, we get actual real information from studies that people have done to help us see what's going on in the world, why people are treated the way they are, and how, and why that is. And so in the first few weeks, we're going to be looking at frameworks, or some people call them lenses, but frameworks, or ways that we can look at how we study gender. And a reminder that gender and sex are not the same concept, even though people use them interchangeably. I want you to look up the words and see how they're different. But anyway, we're going to look at how we can study the concept of gender and the concept of sex using different frameworks or lenses. So one of them is looking at individuals and how we can study, research, examine individuals, and what's going on with individuals, that they are the way they are or become the way they become, whatever. And then we also look at societal influences. And so Sapiro looks at different research that's been conducted in many different countries and looks at some comparison data. And then we'll look at other ways of frameworking or examining gender and sex from different perspectives, because they can give us different pieces of information. So in this course, Women's Studies, we look at research on women, girls, and we also look at research on boys, men. And then the KMS text, that's more anecdotal story, like usually short articles, poems, more emotionally based information, but still perspectives that are very valuable to the field of women's studies and feminism. And so Sapiro gives you a research-based foundation. It's a very important aspect of looking at gender and sex. And then the KMS gives you more stories that kind of complement each other, which is why I use both texts. So you get the research, kind of dry sometimes, I know, but very important that we get some of the kind of data that we get from conducting research. And then we have the stories that can complement it. So hopefully you'll find them both interesting and complementary. But it's important that we look at data and get a sense of what's really going on. So, hope that was a little bit helpful. Look forward to seeing your discussions.